Welcome to the Eczema Warrior podcast. I'm your host, Julia Chen. I'm here to help you heal your eczema naturally so you can finally live your best damn life. Many years ago in my own eczema healing journey, I was stuck and confused on how to heal my skin. Fast forward to today, after many lessons learned and lots of trial and error, I'm now living my best life and traveling the world with clearer skin. If you're an eczema or TSW warrior who desires a life of food freedom and is wanting to heal your skin without steroids while using mindset and manifestation as a tool, you're in the right place. Now let's get into it. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of the Eczema Warrior podcast. I'm actually recording this episode a few days after the episode that just got released because I've been a little behind, you guys, with my podcast episodes. Usually I like to create podcast ideas every week, but this week I had to bang out 2 topics so that I can release this one on time. So not much of a life update since I did one in the last episode and still in Greece here, still working, still eating the good food, doing little things. So yeah, I'm just going to dive into this week's episode right away, which is all about how to speak to yourself and your eczema positively. So if you've been following my podcast for a while and you hear me talk about it on Instagram, I'm all about mindset and how the way that you think about yourself, the thoughts that you have, the things that you say to yourself actually make a really big difference in your healing. And it really just comes down to the mind-body connection, which I often talk about too in my stories, and I mentioned it here several times in different podcast episodes. But today I actually want to talk about why language is really important and the things that you say about yourself, about your eczema, can actually either help you with your healing journey or make your flares worse. So when we think about language and the words that we use to describe ourselves and the words to describe our eczema, it actually makes us feel a certain way. And the language that we use also impacts how you feel and what you do based on what you say. So for example, if you were someone who often thought that your eczema is your enemy, for example, or you feel that your eczema is causing a huge burden in your life and you dislike everything about it. Now, think about that language that you're using around your eczema is not going to create a good emotion, right? When you talk to yourself like that, you're creating an emotion that causes stress, that causes frustration, maybe even anger, and maybe even sadness, because the things that you say about your eczema when you feel that it's an enemy or when you feel that it's against you or you hate it, it's going to create a feeling of frustration, right? And so when you have these emotions that you constantly create, whether or not you're noticing that, it causes stress on the body. And you guys have heard me talk about, the science behind stress. When you have constant stress going on, your body is always in fight or flight. And when your body is always in fight or flight, you're basically always running away from the tiger. And when you're always running away from the tiger, that's basically what happens when you're in fight or flight. Your body actually doesn't know that you are feeling stressed because of what you're saying. It thinks that you're running away from the tiger. So then, if that's the case, then your skin's going to be very challenging to heal because now it's focusing so much on running away from the tiger versus focusing on your eczema healing. So when it comes to language, it's really important thinking about and just identifying what you're saying and what you're thinking. More importantly for this episode is more on what you're saying. In a different episode, I talked about how negative thinking can impact your eczema. If you want to check out episode 17, how to stop negative thinking about your eczema, I'll talk a little bit about how your thoughts can impact your healing, but also the language and the things that you say, which is in this episode, also makes a difference as well. So I want you, as your homework and moving forward, is to start identifying what words you're describing yourself and your eczema. Are you calling her ugly? Are you calling her horrendous? Do you tell her that you hate her? Do you tell her that she is the worst thing that's ever happened to you? Also notice when other people, like your friends or family or even strangers, when they ask you about your eczema, how do you describe it to them? Do you tell them, oh, it's this ugly thing that I have? Or is this ugly rash? Oh, it looks terrible. I know it's very ugly. Like, how do you describe your eczema to other people? Because that is also language, right? The things that you say about yourself, about your eczema, but also how you describe your eczema to other people. The other thing I want you to also identify is not only the words, but the emotions that you have towards your eczema. Do you express hate towards it? Do you express resentment? Do you just have a lot of anger towards your skin? Because when you have these emotions, you're really just fighting against yourself. And you're basically just against yourself, and you don't like the journey, and you don't like your body, basically. I know that sounds kind of like harsh for some people, but it does really make a difference when you notice these things, and how you speak to yourself honestly is just such a game changer when it comes to healing, because the more love and the more compassion and connection too you have with your skin and your eczema, the easier it is it's going to heal. Because I always say, and I tell my clients this too, you want to see your eczema as a friend. And I know it's easier said than done, especially when literally you're in pain all the time. You're itching and you're flaring and you're having difficult sleep and you don't think anything good of this journey. But you really have to try your best to think of this journey as happening for you. And you and your eczema are a team. It's not trying to be against you. Your body is actually trying really hard to keep you alive and trying to heal you at every second of the day, right? You wouldn't be living right now if your body wasn't functioning the way that it's supposed to function, giving everything it needs to heal, right? The nourishment, the supplements, lifestyle changes. It's not trying to be against you. So it's important that you start thinking that it's trying to be on your side. Your skin, your eczema, and your body is trying to be on your side. But it's not going to want to be by your side if you speak to them in a negative way, right? Think about your best friend, right? Would you tell her that she, or her or him, that he or she is ugly, horrendous, you don't want to be around them? Do you express that you don't care about them, or do you express that you have hate towards them, right? You would never do that to your best friend. So think of that best friend as your eczema. Think of your eczema as your best friend. And in that way, you're developing a better relationship with yourself and your eczema, and you no longer are against yourself. Because when you speak to yourself negatively, or when you have certain words in your language that don't support healing, then really you're just against yourself. And, at the end of the day, it's you and your body, right? Your body wants to heal and it needs you to help them. And so it's a team here. It's a team effort. So we want to make sure that we are trying to work together as a team in order to heal. So how do you change your language when it comes to your eczema? Because I get a lot of questions from you guys through the DMs and even my clients as well. It's like, how do I actually shift my thinking and change the language? Because sometimes I just notice that I say things without even realizing I'm saying these things. So the one thing, first of all, is to be conscious of your language moving forward after, listening to this podcast episode. And anytime you describe your eczema or your body in a certain way that doesn't make you feel good, I want you to cancel those words. So let's say you say, oh my gosh, I hate my eczema today. You want to cancel that right away and literally say the opposite, which is, I love my eczema. Or if you wake up one day and you're like, I think I'm horrendous looking, or I think my eczema is horrendous, or I feel disgusting today. Let's say you accidentally say that to someone, cancel that right away, and then say the exact opposite. Be like, never mind, cancel that. I'm going to say, I am beautiful. My eczema looks great. I'm healing. Basically just affirmations if you think about it, which is really important actually with healing, because again, the things that you say create a certain feeling. And if we're going to say affirmations that are positive, then it's going to create an emotion that makes us feel positive, makes us feel good. And that is the key when it comes to strengthening your mindset and feeling better about your journey. So the whole negative versus positive is basically what you want to do when you are trying to change your language. Anytime there's a negative word or a word that doesn't make you feel good, you just want to catch it as soon as you can, cancel it, and say the opposite, which is the positive. I hope that makes sense for what I'm trying to say here when it comes to speaking to yourself positively. And yeah, I mean, I feel like it's one of those things where you don't notice the way that you speak to yourself until you notice, if that makes sense. Like for me, I used to say really terrible things about like my body and like myself and how I looked, and was a very pretty insecure person, I would say. And growing up, I definitely had some like self-esteem issues, didn't have a lot of friends, was bullied in school as well. And, I'm not trying to share like a sob story or anything like that. But the reason why I'm sharing this is because thinking back, I definitely didn't say any good things about myself because I just didn't feel good. Versus now, I really value the importance of loving myself and speaking to myself kindly, not putting too much pressure on myself when I don't achieve certain things, for example, or if I failed at something, I always take that as a lesson. I take that as it happening for me rather than to me. And having that perspective when it comes to everything in life just makes things a lot easier. You don't beat yourself up over things that you could heal from, and you don't beat yourself up over things that you can't control. But like I always say, if you can't control how things end up, for example, you can't control how your eczema is going to heal and when it's going to heal. What you can control is in the journey, in the process, what are you saying to yourself? What are the thoughts that you have? What are the words you're describing your journey? All of that is going to either make your healing easier and faster, or it's going to make it harder, right? And so it's up to you to decide which one you're going to choose. And the amount of energy that we put towards all the negative things, like why don't we put the same amount of energy into the positive? And I think that's, our human brain is we just always tend to look for problems and we look for negative things. But the amount of effort that we do that, like we can literally do the opposite and feel so much better. So why do we put all of our time in feeling bad about ourselves when we can put the time into feeling good, right? It's just a simple mindset change. It's a simple language change that we're talking about here, right? So if you can call yourself certain names about your eczema, you could do that, but the opposite, right? Like positive things. So it just takes a little bit of effort. It takes repetition, but it works and you'll feel a lot better about your journey. And I'm not saying that just because it really does work. And again, it's just the whole mind-body connection, and it's more than just, your thoughts. It's how your thoughts and the language and the things you say is related to every single cell of your body. And your gut as well. Like your mind's connected to your body, but it's connected to your gut's connected to your skin. Like everything's related. So we don't want to single out anything, and we want to remember that everything is working together. We just have to support it. All right, that's what I have for today's episode. And again, if any of this resonates with you and you want more support, you know that I'm running my group program called Clear Eczema, which is my 6-month coaching program that I teach my clients all of this, but not only on the mindset and the manifestation, we also talk about diet, which I know a lot of you need support with, like what to eat to support skin healing, how to actually balance your meals so your skin heals as a result of that. We talk about supplements, and you know that supplements are really key when it comes to addressing your root causes. And finding your root cause is also something that we help you with inside Clear Eczema. So you never feel like you're lost. You never feel like you're doing it alone. I had a couple questions last week asking how my coaching is different than others. And for me, I always say, as someone who has eczema, it's currently in remission, skin as clear as it's ever been, someone that has gone through TSW, come through the other side, I know how important it is to have community and to be able to be around like-minded individuals and other people who are also in this journey with you. And so my coaching program, it's not just me giving you like tips and do this, this, and this, and this, and have this protocol. Like obviously those are important, but my program is a lot more focused on community and making sure everyone's heard, Everyone's questions are answered. Every week we meet together, and this is where we share struggles, we share wins, we ask questions to me that I answer live in the calls, but even questions to your fellow eczema and TSW besties. It's really a safe space to connect, to heal, and to support. And that's how Clear Eczema is. And of course, we have all the resources and the modules that teach you the science on how to heal. But I really pair that, like the content, the education, the resources, I pair that with coaching and community, which is the difference that makes the difference, right? A lot of people, they come to me, they're like, oh, I've done these protocols. I've seen naturopaths. I've had one-off sessions, here and there with different practitioners, but I'm not seeing the results that I want. I'm doing all the things, like, what is it? And honestly, I'm not just saying to like toot my own horn or anything like that, but honestly, what I've seen with just clients who come to me who were stuck, they really needed the ongoing coaching and the community, which a lot of other practitioners maybe did not offer because coaching is very different than having like a one-off session. So by them joining the program and just coming to the weekly calls, participating in the group chat, having me there by their side the entire time, honestly just makes the biggest difference. And people start healing from that without even needing to go on any kind of strict protocols. So that's what I want to share in terms of how Clear Eczema works. I would love to work with you if this resonates with you and you feel aligned with how I run the program. And you can apply for Clear Eczema in the show notes below, and in the application form. It just helps me get to know you a little bit better and where you're at in your journey. And then in the last part of the application, you can book a free call and we can discuss how to move forward with coaching. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Looking forward to the next few ones. I'll have maybe some bigger life updates. I don't really know, but we'll see. We'll see. Life is a little bit all over the place, I feel like sometimes, just kind of hopping places, but we're excited. We're excited for the coming months, so stay tuned for that. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. Now, before I let you go, I want to let you know I have this amazing eczema visualization. This visualization has helped me so much when it comes to manifesting eczema healing flares faster than I can ever imagine, reducing the itch, and just feeling great in my body. This is the exact same visualization I use for my own healing as well as my clients' healing as well. And if you want to receive this visualization, then all you have to do is leave us a review and tell us what you think about the podcast, screenshot it, send it to your email at hello@juliachin.ca, and you will receive the visualization to your inbox. I look forward to seeing your review, and we will see you in the next episode.